going on, everybody? Santi here, and today we're trying to figure out who is the greatest WWE superstar of all time. And we're going to do this by putting 32 of the greatest WWE superstars of all time in a single elimination bracket. The last person standing will be deemed the greatest WWE superstar of all time, according to me. But before we get started, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, but let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, we're gonna be starting on the right side of the bracket, and we've got ourselves a matchup between Kane and the Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior left WWE a little bit too high and dry. He probably could have done so much more in the business had he not left the WWE as early as he did. So I'm gonna go with the mayor of Knoxville County. He was in the business for a very long time. He's iconic, Hall of Famer. I'm going with Kane. Next, we've got, oh my God, that is an absolutely brutal first round matchup between The Undertaker and Triple H. This is brutal. You know what? If it was anyone else, Triple H is winning this. But because it's against The Undertaker, arguably the greatest WWE superstar of all time, that WrestleMania streak, the leader of the locker room for like 30 years, I gotta go with the dead man. I'm taking The Undertaker. Next, we've got a battle between former WWE champions. We've got The Big Show, and we've got the 5-time WCW champion, Booker T. And look, I think they are actually very well evenly matched in terms of their legacy, but I prefer Booker T as a performer overall, so I'm gonna go with Booker T here. Oh, this is an interesting one. We basically have the same WWE superstar, just in different generations, in Bob Backlund and Daniel Bryan. This is a fascinating matchup. Again, both former WWE champions, but I'm gonna go with my recency bias, and I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan. Next, we've got Big Daddy Diesel Kevin Nash and No More Words Willow Jeff Hardy. Again, I think in terms of their legacy, they're both fairly well matched. That being said, I'm gonna go with the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. Ooh, yeah. Next, we've got Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Rated R superstar Edge, and I'm gonna go with Edge on this one. All right. Dude, this is actually a fascinating matchup because, again, they're basically the same character, just absolute shit disturbers in just different eras. We got Rowdy Roddy Piper and CM Punk. That being said, I keep saying that being said. I'm going to stop saying that. I'm going to go with CM Punk. That 434-day WWE Championship run is weighing heavily on this one, so I'm going to go with CM Punk. Yo, it's like they're handpicking these to put guys who are very similar to one another. We have the Master of the Spear in Goldberg and another Sensei of the Spear in Roman Reigns. You know what? In the last couple of years, Roman Reigns has really cemented himself as one of the greatest of all time. Maybe if this was 6 years ago, this might be a closer match, but I'm going with the tribal chief on this one. I'm going with Roman Reigns. All right, we continue to round out the right side of the bracket, and we've got a battle between brothers, the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker. This is an easy one. I'm taking The Undertaker. Next, we've got Booker T and Daniel Bryan. I think in terms of overall body of work in the ring, Daniel Bryan is far better, even though Booker T does have fantastic accolades to put to his name. Of course, he's a WWE Hall of Famer, but we're going to go with the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan. Well, this is kind of a poetic match. Jeff Hardy versus Edge. This is going to go to Edge. He just has done so much more for the business in the WWE. So Edge it is. And now we have CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. You know what? CM Punk's reign as champion for 434 days is not outdone by many people. Unfortunately, he's run into one of those that is able to outdo them in Roman Reigns, who is nearly up to 1,000 days. Again, had this been 5 years ago, I probably would have said CM Punk. Today, with the tribal chief gimmick, I'm going with Roman Reigns here. And now we have the semifinal of the right side of the bracket, and we have The Undertaker versus Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan made a pretty good run here, but of course he was always going to get bricked by this brick wall that is The Undertaker. Again, arguably one of the greatest of all time. I'm going with the Phenom, the dead man, The Undertaker. And in the other semifinal, another battle of spears, Edge versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has just cemented himself as that guy over the last couple of years. So I'm going to go with Roman Reigns here. And in the final matchup of the right side of the bracket, we've got a matchup between former WrestleMania rivals in The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. And maybe 8 to 10 more years? The answer is going to be Roman Reigns if he continues to be at the top of his game for the next decade. But The Undertaker still just has so much excellent baggage under his belt. So we're going with The Undertaker to go all the way to the final here. All right, folks, and on the left side of the bracket, I'm sorry that the formatting has changed, but hey, we're working with what we've got. We've got Cactus Jack, Mick Foley versus Bruno Sammartino. We're going to go with Bruno Sammartino, the original GOAT of professional wrestling. Bruno Sammartino is moving on. Next, we've got a battle of absolute bitter rivals, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla versus Shawn Michaels. And look, you know what? Had it been anyone else, I think Jericho would have cruised. But going up against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, a man who's had not one, but really two Hall of Fame worthy careers in the 90s and in the 2000s, I'm going to go with Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels. Our next matchup is between two of the most popular WWE superstars of all time in Rey Mysterio and John Cena. Look, they're both absolute legends of the business. Rey Mysterio just inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, but the answer is John Cena. Between accolades, what he's done to elevate the business outside of the ring, the answer is John Cena all day, every day. John Cena's moving on. Next, we've got the battle of, I guess, no hair between Kurt Angle and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm going to go, like, if it's purely WWE, we have to remember that Kurt Angle had an amazing career in TNA Impact, but we're not counting this. It's only purely WWE career, WWE superstar. And even though it was a very short career, it's one of the most impactful careers of all time. I'm going to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Next, we've got Bret Hart versus Randy Orton, and I'm going to go with a little bit of recency bias. I know some Attitude Era fans are kicking the air right now saying it needs to be Bret Hart. I'm going to go with Randy Orton. Randy Orton has had an absolutely wonderful career in the WWE. Hopefully it doesn't come to an end soon because of this back injury. We're going with Randy Orton. Up next, we've got Hulk Hogan versus the Beast Brock Lesnar. And you know what? I think a lot of people think that this might be a runaway, that the answer is Hulk Hogan. But if you look at Brock Lesnar's resume, like just apples to apples, his resume, what he's accomplished in the WWE, he's got better accomplishments than Hulk Hogan. So it's not as easy as you might think, but the answer is still going to be Hulk Hogan. But I promise you, it's much closer than you were originally thinking. I'm going to go with the Hulkster. Next, we've got The Rock and Ric Flair. And because we're going purely on WWE, I'm actually going to go with The Rock, although I'm willing to admit that Ric Flair had a far better career overall than The Rock in the ring. But The Rock had more years in the WWE, so he almost kind of just wins by default here. And next, we've got Andre the Giant versus Eddie Guerrero, Viva la Raza. And look, I'm willing to be wrong on this one. I am willing to be wrong on this one, but I'm going to go with one of my favorites of all time here. I'm sorry, Andre, but I'm going with Eddie Guerrero, baby. All right, the next round in this half of the bracket has us between Bruno Sammartino and the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And, you know, for as iconic as Bruno Sammartino's career was, multiple 1,000-day runs, the business was just entirely different back then. So and we're talking about Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, again, the individual that has had not one but two Hall of Fame careers within the WWE, started an iconic faction in DX. In terms of modern era WWE, the contributions to the business are greater for Shawn Michaels than they are for Bruno Sammartino, as much as Bruno carried the business on its back during its infancy and its early years in the 60s and 70s. For me, my answer is Shawn Michaels. And well, look at what we have here, the battle of the icons, John Cena versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Attitude Era kids are punching the air right now saying it needs to be Stone Cold. And listen, I acknowledge that Stone Cold's short stint in the WWE was the most impactful stint in WWE history. Without him, WWE loses the Monday Night Wars. But we're talking about John Cena, somebody who lasted like 5 times longer in the WWE than Stone Cold Steve Austin ever did. More accolades and far more contributions to the business outside of the ring with what he's done with Make-A-Wish, movies, etc. I have to go with John Cena. I really believe that he he embodies WWE more at this point than Stone Cold Steve Austin ever will. Again, as much as I acknowledge Stone Cold Steve Austin saved the business and is one of the greatest of all time, to compare him to John Cena as the best WWE superstar, I think it's too difficult to beat John Cena here. John Cena's moving on. Next, we've got Randy Orton versus Hulk Hogan. Again, I don't think that this is going to be the runaway for Hulk Hogan that people are thinking. If Randy Orton were able to go a few more years, I think maybe the answer here ends up being Randy Orton. But we cannot ignore Hogan's contribution throughout the entirety of the 80s. Like, this man single-handedly made wrestling into a pop culture phenomenon. So I'm going to go with the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. Next, we've got The Rock versus Eddie Guerrero. And again, two of the unfortunately much shorter WWE careers than we would have loved. Of course, Eddie Guerrero losing him much earlier than we would have loved. And of course, The Rock leaving for Hollywood. That being said, the amount of time that we had The Rock, he was incredibly impactful to the business. I'm going to go with The Rock here, especially for his time during the Attitude Era. Next, we've got Shawn Michaels versus John Cena. And you know what? If John Cena is going to beat Stone Cold, he's going to beat Shawn Michaels. Undoubtedly, Shawn Michaels is the better in-ring performer, but the best WWE superstar, everything that title means, WWE superstar John Cena is the, no pun intended, the prototype of what a WWE superstar is supposed to be. We're going with John Cena. What the hell happened there? Okay. Wait, I picked John Cena and then he just disappeared. What the fuck? Like, oh, there we go. All right, John Cena. We're going with John Cena. In the other semifinal of the left side of the bracket, we have Hulk Hogan versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson, a rematch of the Icon versus Icon match at WrestleMania 18. And this one is going to be going to the Hulkster. So Hulk Hogan is moving on. And to decide who will face the Phenom, The Undertaker, we are down to Hulk Hogan versus John Cena. And we are going to go with bias showing John Cena. Frankly, they're both the same superstar, just in different eras. But John Cena was able to get through his entire career with no controversies, has more accolades, never left the WWE. Hulk Hogan did defect to WCW, which really hurt the WWE for a really long time. John Cena's our guy. And folks, welcome to the grand final. It is John Cena versus The Undertaker. And look, you can pick either of these guys and I wouldn't be upset. Like, both of these guys absolutely deserve to be crowned the greatest WWE superstar of all time. The reason I'm going to go with this individual is because, unlike the other individual, this individual was the guy. He was the most important guy in the business while he was there. Meanwhile, the other guy always had other people who were at the top of the pecking order, like the likes of Stone Cold, John Cena, Hulk Hogan. So the answer is John Cena. As I absolutely adore The Undertaker, and as iconic as he is, and as much of a locker room leader as he was, and of course that WrestleMania streak that will never be forgotten, the answer of WWE superstar, go ahead, grill me in the comments, greatest WWE superstar of all time is John Cena, folks. Mark it, laminate it, sign it, and send it off for authorization. The answer to the question of who is the greatest WWE superstar of all time is John Cena. And I know he's my favorite, but hey, you disagree with me? You make your own YouTube video. And that's it, folks. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave it a like, a comment. You let me know who should have won this. You tell me, all right? That's what the comments are for you to yell at me and tell me I'm wrong. Make sure to check out my socials, especially my Twitch. I'm live 5 days a week. Thank you very much for watching this video. You take care and be good people. Cheers.